Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be creating this makeup look right here, which I hope you guys love. It's super simple, but I used products that I felt were sitting in my drawer for quite some time and I haven't really picked up. I really love the concept of this because it allowed me to dig deep and just really retest products that I wasn't either sure about or that I used to love to see if I still love them. So grab your makeup or a snack, whichever is your preference, and let's get started. So we are going to start with our base makeup today, and I am going to pull out this Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. I have not used this in so long, you guys, but this used to be my holy grail primer. So I'm going to put this on first. I am going to use my Real Techniques brush to do so. This is the 101 brush. I believe it's meant for like skincare products, but it's kind of like a dual fiber kind of brush, and I'm just going to apply this everywhere. Another favorite that I stopped using for a while is the No Pore Blend Primer. This is the Smooth and Pore Covering Top Secret for Perfection Makeup by Touch in Sol. So it just looks like this. Let's try this out again. I am going to use a flat foundation brush, and I'm going to concentrate it right on my cheeks, right over here, because this is where I have the most pores, and I absolutely hate it. To set my primers down, you guys know I love using a powder. Typically, I would use the Maybelline powder. Now I can't think of the name of it, but you guys know what I'm talking about because I use it all the time here on my channel in the shade Light Medium. But today I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier powder. This is just a translucent powder that should be good enough to use to set my primers down, kind of eliminate that initial layer of oils and all that good stuff. I'm going to use the Real Techniques sponge that's meant for powder to do this, just because I feel like it packs the powder on better and you get a more even layer with this sponge. Normally I would use this sponge damp, but honestly I was too lazy to wet it, so I'm using it dry. But you can use it dry or damp. I don't think there's any like specification. When it comes to foundation, I have quite the collection, I would say. It's not extreme, but it's not very small either. However, what I did realize when sitting down to film this video is that majority of my shades are like summer shades when I'm more tanner and not so much when I'm pale, so I had limited option. So what I chose to use for today's video is the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. This is more like high medium to buildable full coverage, but I still really do love this foundation, and because I haven't been using it so much recently, I figured I'd use it in today's video. I was going to take the chance and use this Makeup Revolution one that I received or bought a long time ago online. If you guys seen that video, it was so long ago, probably embarrassing to watch, but I picked this up. I purchased it online and it's too light, and I think it'll be even, you know, just a little too light right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with this one. So I'm blending this out with my Juno & Co sponge. I really do like this one compared to the other one I have. This one has like a teardrop shape almost, kind of reminds me of the Beauty Blender slightly. But I'm just using this just to blend everything out. I just like this one better. I don't know what it is. The other one looks more like the Morphe sponge. I've used it in a previous video, but I can't remember which one. But as you guys can see, it's like medium buildable coverage. I have like pretty good coverage on my face right now. Now it's time for concealer. I'm gonna use the Juvia's Place concealer. This is a very high coverage concealer. I do love it. It blends out effortlessly and seamlessly, and it's just really, really easy to work with. I don't know why I don't use this often on my channel, but we're gonna use it today. This is in the shade number 16, and I'm just gonna take some of this underneath my eyes, as I normally would, of course, and then the bridge of my nose. When it comes to my nose, I just like hold the brush sideways and then just kind of go down in a straight line, because the same way I apply it is the same way I'm going to try and blend it out. And then you also want to get the top of your lip and all the high points of your face as well. Now it's time to cream contour, and I'm just going to use the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Shaping Stick. Mine is in the shade Cocoa. I used to use the Maybelline one in the shade Cocoa, and I was obsessed with that for a while. Now I'm kind of obsessed with the Wet n Wild one, so I figured I'd use this one today. I am going to use my sponge, of course, to do this, and I think I'm going to use the bottom. since that's the clean part of the sponge. Get a little bit of that product on there and then stamp it on my cheeks lightly, because this one is super intense. Like, it's a lot of color payoff. With the Wet n Wild one, I feel like I can build it up easier. This one's just like super harsh. So you gotta make sure you really take the time to like apply it and blend it and all of that. So a sponge is definitely more appropriate when using this one. So now I want to set down all my creams, and I'm going to start with my bronzer first. And I'm going to use this Smashbox. This is the Cali Contour palette. I used to be super obsessed with this. As you guys can see, I use this shade the most, and that's what I'm going to go in with today. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and start bronzing / contouring my face. To set the under eyes, I'm going to use something different. Well, I've used this once, I believe, on my channel, and I wasn't hating it, but I wasn't also in love with it, so I figured I'd give it another shot today. This is the Collab Set the Stage Soft Focus Translucent Finishing Powder. So I'm just going to use this, and then I'm going to take my beauty sponge, or beauty blender really, and I'm going to use that with this powder, because if I remember correctly, I used not this one, but I used this one to put the powder on, which is for powder, like I said. However, I didn't really like the way that it applied it. It applies it very thick, and I'm not crazy about it. And because this sponge is kind of the same texture as this one, I'm just not going to use the same sponge that I put my foundation and stuff on. So that's why I'm using the beauty blender instead. So we're going to tap into here. We're going to set underneath our eyes. And hopefully I like this powder this time around. I'm even tapping like the excess onto my hand before going in underneath my eyes. It doesn't come off very translucent to me. It comes off a little like dusty and yellow, and I do not like that. I'm honestly not really feeling that powder, to be honest. So I think what I'm going to do is take my Tarte. This is the Smooth Operator Amazonian Clay Tinted Press Finishing Powder. And this is in medium, and I'm just going to use this. Normally I would use like my Sephora Micro Smooth powder for this step, but again, using things that I haven't touched in a while, and this is definitely one of them, and I used to love it. I'm going to take it on that sponge and then press this into my skin. This is just going to blur, you know, like my face, kind of give it that blurred effect, but it's also going to cover up that powder, because I'd rather look tan than look yellow. Since we put so much powder on our face, I'm going to take my MAC Prep and Prime Fixing Spray. I just don't have any other spray other than the Morphe one to use for this. But I'm just going to take that and just tap all over my face, just to kind of melt these powders into our skin so they're not sitting on top of our face, because we used a lot of powder. I really do not like this powder, you guys. I just honestly do not think that this Collab powder is something that I can get on board with. I can't even pretend to like it. Like, it's just not for me. So this, no more. Now I'm going to move on to eyeshadow before we finish off the rest of the face. Let's just give the face a break. I am going to be using the NARS Soft Matte Concealer in Medium Dark 1 Biscuit just to prime my lids, because I don't have any other potted concealer, and that's what I prefer to use to set my base for my eyeshadow. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with this. Hopefully you guys don't mind. I haven't got any new like eyeshadow primers or anything yet. So we're just going to use this because it's what we got. Before we move on to the eyeshadow, I do want to put a little bit of moisture on my lips. So I'm going to use my Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of this on. I like to use like this little brush, because I don't even know what happened to the teeny brush it came with. And just apply that to my lips. That way they're not looking so dry. So you're welcome. So now we're going to move on to eyeshadow, and I picked two palettes to use in today's video. I have such a wide range of eyeshadow palettes. I have so many to choose from, but I chose these ones specifically because I wasn't going for anything too dramatic or crazy. The first one is this Iconic London This is their Day to Slay eyeshadow palette, and it has a variation of shades in here, but they're also very neutral, and that's what I'm kind of looking for in today's look. So we're going to use this, and we're also going to use one shadow out of this. This is the NARS, their Voyager eyeshadow palette in Suede, and this is more of a cool tone palette, but like I said, we're only using one shade out of this, and then it's going to be this dark brown over here. So let's get started. I am going to grab a little bit of taupe and ultimate tan, very little ultimate tan though, which are very neutral tones, and I'm going to rock this back and forth in my socket and kind of wing it out. So I'm going to drag the eyeshadow outwards. When doing this step, you want to make sure that you're really building up those colors in your crease, because again, they're the only two colors that we will be using, and you just want it to look nice, bold, and defined, but not too harsh. So make sure you're blending. Now that I have the top of my lids kind of blown out and smoked out the way that I want and the intensity that I want, I'm going to go back in with only the taupe shade, and I'm going to dust that on my bottom lash line just to kind of bring everything full circle. And I'm using a slightly smaller blending brush to do this, but just want to dust a little bit of color down there. I think I am going to go in with a little bit of ultimate tan just to bring everything full circle, and it looks more cohesive that way because those are the same two shades that we have in our crease. So also by adding ultimate tan, it'll brighten it up just a little bit. So for this next step, you're going to need any like small angled brush that you guys have will work. This is just the one I'm using. This is from Moda, and any like bullet brush or smudger brush, however you want to, name it, but like this. So this is actually the Morphe M431, just in case you guys were wondering. And again, this is a Moda brush. It doesn't have a specific name, but the brand is Moda. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this dark brown here in the palette on my brush, and I'm going to create a wing, but kind of like slanted, and I'm going to smoke it out. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm coming up at an angle, and then I'm going to come back down. So kind of like that. Then we're going to fill it in. And then I'm going to use this little bullet brush to kind of like smudge it out. So now we're going to move on to lashes and liner and all that good stuff. I am going to apply my lashes off camera as I always do, but I am going to tell you guys what lashes I'm using and all that. But let's first apply some mascara. I'm going to go in with the Benefit Roller Lash. I haven't used this in like a good minute, so I'm going to go in with this. I used to use this all the time. Not that it matters what mascara you use when you put on false lashes, but honestly, this is a really good mascara. Even if like you're not a falsies type of person, this one really extends your lashes, and I really do like it. It extends them and it separates them so they're not clumpy. So our lashes are on. Now we're just going to add a little bit of blush and highlight to finish off our face. I'm going to take this e.l.f. Total Face Palette. I don't really pull for this too often, but I'm going to use this, and I think I'm going to take this shade over here, which pulls a little bit more orange peachy tones, and that's kind of like the blush shades that I like. So I'm just going to use that on an angled brush. This is a Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush, JH06. So I'm going to tap into the pan and then dust this on my cheeks. Now this blush isn't like super pigmented, if that makes sense. Like there's pigment, but it's not a lot. So, I mean, you can build this up if you like, or if you just like that sheer, like coverage of blush, then you'll be good with just dipping your brush into the pan once. For highlight, I'm going to use the Master Chrome from Maybelline. Mine is beat up, broken, dropped it, crushed it, but we're still going to use it because you can. This is the Molten Gold highlight, and it's super pretty, very gold. It is a beaming highlight, more so than what I've been going for lately, but this is still a very great highlight and very affordable. So I'm going to use a little bit of this, pop it on the high points of my face, and do my thing. Now I pulled out this Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Volume 3 palette, and this I believe I only used once, and that's when I got it in BoxyCharm. But I pulled this out because I wanted to use one of these for my inner corner pop and kind of like my brow bone highlight. And I think the shade that I'm gonna grab is this white shade right here, and I'm gonna take some of that and I'm gonna place this in my inner corners just as like a little inner corner pop, as well as a little bit on my brow bone. And then finally for our lips, I am going to just pop on a little bit of my Sephora gloss. This is their plumping gloss, I believe, and this is in the shade Outrageous. It does have a little bit of color to it, but nothing crazy. It's more sheer than anything, and I think it just complements my lips and my skin tone very nicely. And I can't forget to set everything down. I am going to use my Catrice Matte Finish Prime and Fine Setting Spray, and I'm just going to spray a generous amount. And surprise, surprise, I'm spraying it directly to my face, and then I'm just going to use my fan to dry it. Alright beauties, so this is the finished and final makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. I don't have anything else to say other than I love you guys so much. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys super soon in the next video or vlog, whichever one comes first.